Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Regis and I'm thrilled to be your physics teacher. I will explain all the topics of the 12th grade physics book. Let's get started from chapter 1, section 1. And first of all, I would like to discuss about types of motions. How many types of motions do we have? We have three basic types of motions. The first one, rotational motion. And the second one, translational motion, and the third one is a periodic motions. Okay, the rotational motion, for example, is a rotation on object around its axis, like, for example, rotating Earth around itself. And the second type is translational motion, for example, when an object is translated from one position to another position. Okay, in translational motion, the object's position changes continuously. And a periodic motion is a repeated motion of an object, like a simple pendulum and a spring and a vibrational motion and a circular motion sometimes. Okay, so translational motion can be classified into three types: linear motion, circular motion, and projectile motion. The linear motion is a motion of an object on a straight line. For example, when a car is moving on a straight path, its position changes and the car is moving on a straight path. So this car has displacement and velocity and momentum, for example. Okay, but circular motion is a motion of an object in a circular path around a specific axis. For example, when the Earth orbiting around the sun in a circular path, when Earth orbiting around the sun in a circular path. So the difference between the circular motion and the rotational motion: in rotational motion, the object spins around its axis. So we need to make an important distinction between the spins and orbital motion. The spin, it means that, for example, the movement around an internal axis. The movement around an internal axis. For example, Earth. Earth can spin around itself. So the axis of rotation is located to the internal object. So it means that we can say the spin, it means that movement of an object around internal axis. But orbit is a movement around an external axis. For example, the axis of orbiting Earth is the sun. Okay, so the sun is not a part of the Earth, but the axis of rotation is an internal axis located inside the object. So this is the difference between the rotational motion and circular motion. So the third type of translational motion we studied, and you learned it in grade 11, projectile motion. For example, when an object is moving in a projectile motion, for example, it's like that. So this object has two components when it's moving in a projectile, like parabolic, Vy and Vx. So the velocity can be classified and can be divided into two components, x component and y component. But the most important thing in this section, you have to make the distinction between the rotational motion and the circular motion. So rotational motion is the rotating of an object around its axis. But translational motion is, for example, the object translate, like, for example, linear, circular, and projectile. In all these three types of translational motion, the object can change its position. For example, linear motion, the position changes, for example, from one point to another point in a linear path. Okay, but circular motion also, the position of the object is changed. Okay, but in a circular path, not in a linear path. Okay, this is circular path, this is linear path. And the projectile motion, for example, when the object is moving like a parabolic motion.